Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a very quick look here at Bitcoin. Before we do, not a financial advisor, I just love teaching people how to trade. Hope you can learn a thing or two here today. If you want to learn more, I have a trading community and academy that I'm rolling out with next month, of course. So be on the lookout for that. Slots are currently unavailable for the moment because we're transitioning to a website away from Patreon. So just be aware that I will have more information coming at the first of the month. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin here, some obvious things we want to kind of look at. Not much has changed on the one-day chart, though. By the way, we're still under the 50, of course. We are in this descending wedge pattern. We will be probably for some time until we break 40,500 and or just continue sideways for some consolidation, added volume at the price point roughly at about 37,000. That has been a point of contention for quite some time, though. As you can see, the price is having a difficult time breaking above that. It's also having trouble breaking 37,500 today. We'll look at that here in a moment, but generally speaking, this large candle wick up was kind of a misnomer, or just it wasn't really all that, it's not all that accurate of a candle based on the fact that it was just that news, that catalyst that caused the price to shoot up, shoot down. Inevitably, it was a red day based on the fact that, you know, the news was kind of indecisive, so to speak, and it wasn't really a lot of confidence. So yeah, I think that led to a little bit more fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or just a continuation of the same situation, right? So that's why we're kind of getting stuck right there. And if you know just from before, Bitcoin has done this a few times. So just to kind of point out, Bitcoin does have a tendency of getting stopped out at specific price points and then retracing back down. So we could effectively see this as the precursor to another leg down to 33,000. I think that's more likely than the price coming up from here. But again, we truly don't know until we get there. But today being a Friday, I would expect nothing less than a red day, maybe a bounce off of 37.5 to come down a little bit further. It's just kind of what it's looking like. Anyways, looking at here at the RSI, just kind of give you perspective as well. We are at this descending type of pattern, of course. It's inevitable for it to break to the upside eventually, but just note that this isn't really ideal for it to be kind of stuck in that same routine, okay? So we need to kind of break above this trend line, so to speak, to get any type of continuation to the upside. And what that could entail is just 2 or 3 more days of consolidation at the same price point at 37,000, and then we could see a leg up from there, right? So that would effectively break this trend, if you will, and obviously help you understand that we're back on track, at least tentatively, for the midterm. All right, that's generally what we're looking at there. And then one day we do have a MACD convergence, so it does kind of seem like it's trying to, but I wouldn't put a lot of weight into that just yet because it's a slower moving average and it's not necessarily all that relevant. What is relevant here, though, if we look at the 4-hour, is we're kind of peaking above the 50-day SMA. Now, there's no guarantees it's going to stay above. Every time it's done so in the past, it's gotten rejected fairly well, but it has traveled above beforehand as well. So you don't need to kind of use that as like I'm going to take a long position because we're over the 50-day SMA on the 4-hour. That's not exactly how you should use it. It's just kind of an extra little thing, kind of letting you know that, okay, we're above a key level support, but we still can't break the larger resistance at 37,000, 37,500. Those things also, you kind of got to take a combination of different indicators and kind of add them up to come to a conclusion what's going to happen, right? Never use just one indicator. And that's an example of the price breaking up over the 50, but it's just inevitable for the price to naturally evolve over the 50. But that isn't the only thing you want to consider. So just note that's kind of what's happening here. The price is wavering between 40, 50, and 60 on the RSI, which is basically just a complete state of indecision. It's funny because I saw a picture recently of the sentiment of the market, and it just shows a bunch of people gambling and rolling the dice. That's basically what it is right now. If you're going to be trading, be very, very careful and just do very short-term movements. I know a lot of folks are in my trading community are doing very short-term swing trades, or more so day trades rather, and they're doing well playing the Bollinger Bands, playing the stochastics. But generally speaking, I recommend not holding for very long at the moment. Once we have some kind of decisive nature here from Bitcoin, then we can go ahead and establish a bit better of a trend, right? Right now, it's trying to break the trend, but it still can't do that. Okay, and we're a little ways away from that. I think we're a few days away from breaking through from this trend, and right now there's really no sign that it's going to do that. Right? It's kind of just everything's kind of middle of the ground on the midterm here. In other words, the 4-hour chart isn't really telling us anything positive or negative either. Right? We can take a look at the Ichimoku cloud here on the 4-hour, and there's really not much to note. Pretty much just a complete state of indecision there. I prefer to use it on the 1-hour, so why don't we just go ahead and touch on that and see where we're at. again, same results. We got this ugly mix. There's no obvious indication that we're bullish or bearish on the short term. So when it's a period like this of consolidation, the only thing you can do is very short plays and then kind of roll the dice. Again, that's kind of what you're doing if you were to take an entry. So that's the reason why we're not taking entry as a community for the moment. Yes, there's a couple little opportunities that come up here and there, but generally speaking, trading Bitcoin for the moment isn't really all that ideal unless you want to try to catch these little peaks and valleys, because you can see that it's coming up to 9, coming down to a 7. It is performing very well in the exhaustive sense, where it comes down or up to an exhaustive state and turns back around, right? And if you were to enable Bollinger Bands, you'll probably see that as well. As soon as it comes down, you might want to consider taking entry as soon as it hits its 9 and then bounces off, right? So not a bad little trading style, trading habit, or consideration, of course, but minus those short-term plays right now, there's not a lot of potential, and I don't really see a tremendous amount of patterns here either. I mean, you could say we're having higher highs and higher lows on the 15-minute chart, but how short of a time frame do you got to go to get there, right? I think you're reaching for straws if you're trying to identify significant patterns or trends on a short time frame. So just try to be aware of the fact that yes, it is relevant. It's just not super important. And the thing you want to probably worry about or mostly concern yourself with is the 1 hour or the 4 hour time frame, just because that really helps us understand that shift in momentum. And right now we do not have any major indication that the price is going to shoot straight up from here. Only the fact of the matter is, as you go to the larger time frames, it's just confirming the fact that we're still bearish, and until we break those trend lines, we're still going to be in this situation. Okay, so I just exercise caution, dollar cost average if possible. Again, 37,000 is not a terrible price for Bitcoin. Yes, it could very well continue to go down. I think that's likely as well. But generally speaking, adding a little bit to your position at this price point isn't the worst thing ever. Most successful investors are those who dollar cost average frequently. They don't just buy at the lowest possible point with everything they got. Okay, so again, try to remember that. That's just something to hopefully help you understand. This could be worse, and it very well likely could get worse. My speculation is that we're probably going to see a double bottom, whereas the price is going to come down and effectively test 33,000 once more, and then we'll be on the right track. That's my speculation. I don't want to see 29,000 or lower, but 29,000 is possible. I just think that how the price responds to 33,000, if it were to come back down there, quite possibly even this weekend, then we can identify and see a good price point. So to kind of touch on that too, as far as good dollar cost average targets, I would say 33,000 or just a little bit above 33.5. Those would be really good targets to shoot for, specifically for Bitcoin. Okay, and that kind of translates into other altcoins too. Careful with your entries, and I wouldn't just kind of buy in all of a sudden because you see a couple of green days. We need more confirmation. Okay. And again, I know some people struggle with that, but as being a tenured trader myself, I can tell you that waiting a little bit longer in most cases always helps. There's so many times where I've gone in the past and wished I'd waited just a little bit longer. So try to be patient if you can. I know it's easier said than done, but that's kind of what I'd recommend, of course. So not much else to really note here. We don't need to worry too much about the small stuff, obviously, because the 1 hour is giving us a state of indecision. The 4 hour is pretty much the same thing as well. We're just kind of consolidating closer to this resistance. Traditionally speaking, the price does increase when you consolidate as a resistance. But in a bearish type of downtrend here, we're going to need some kind of strong catalyst to push the price up. Less fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and something that can cause a push in the up to the upside. A lot of money is getting transferred to exchanges right now from unknown wallets. And that's just a big concern for me, seeing that happen right in a Friday morning. That basically tells us the likelihood of a Friday afternoon sell-off is pretty high. I would be willing to guess the price will go down near the end of today versus coming up. It just makes more sense, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see 37,500 tested first, and then we get that rejection, or the price just continues to trickle down from here. Either way, not extremely bullish on Bitcoin. I do think we'll see a double bottom back down to 33. I hope you found benefit here, of course. If so, like, subscribe, comment below. And if you're not currently a community member, consider joining next month, of course. We're going to have a lot of great features. We got We're going to be rolling out with futures trading, as well as, of course, my trading academy to help prepare you for something along those lines, right? Because you want to build on a strong foundation before you jump into something a little bit more advanced trading techniques, right? And that's what that will give you. It'll get you up to speed, make sure that you're on the right track. So I hope you do find benefit. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.